Article 13 of Bunreacht Na states the President shall appoint the Taoiseach on the nomination of Dáil Éireann. The President will also appoint on the nomination of the Taoiseach, with the previous approval of the Dáil, the other members of the government. The Dáil can be summoned or dissolved by the President on the advice of the Taoiseach, but he retains absolute discretion to refuse to dissolve the Dáil on the advice of a Taoiseach who does not retain the support of a majority in Dáil Éireann. Upon election by the Dáil, the Taoiseach must receive his seal of office from the President in Uachtarán in the Phoenix Park, an iconic building that, more than most, reflects the intertwined strands of Irish history. Originally finished in 1751, designed by Nathaniel Clements, a park ranger and architect, the building was purchased in the 1780s as a summer residence for the Lord Lieutenant, also known as the Viceroy, the symbolic head of the British administration in Ireland. Because of this, the building soon became known as the Viceregal Lodge, and having been expanded and extensively refurbished during the 1820s, was a powerful symbol of British rule in Ireland. When the Irish Free State was created, the office of Lord Lieutenant was abolished, and the Crown was represented in Ireland by the office of the Governor-General between 1922 and 1936, all three of whom used the former Viceregal Lodge as their residence. In 1938, following the establishment of the presidency under Bunreacht Na, the building was to change its purpose again. Douglas Hyde, the first president, moved in, and nearly 80 years and 9 presidents later, it has become an iconic symbol of the independent state, and an important stage for welcoming renowned world figures, the ordinary citizens of Ireland, and the diaspora returned home from abroad. When the Taoiseach arrives at the Áras, he is greeted at the door by the Secretary-General to the President. He will be escorted through the entrance hall, which over the years has seen many distinguished figures sign the visitor's book. At that point, he will be received by the President for a private meeting in the drawing room, a location which reflects both the history of the island of Ireland, with a chandelier from Dublin Castle that was originally made to celebrate the Act of Union, and the ever-evolving present. The sculpture here, made from walnut sourced at the site of the Battle of the Boyne, has a twin, which is displayed in Stormont. Following their meeting, the President and Taoiseach pass through the Council of State room on their way to the State Reception room. In former times, meetings of the Council of State took place here, but in recent years, as membership of the Council has grown, these meetings take place in the bigger dining room at Uachtarán. On the wall, a painting of the first meeting of the Council of State provides a reminder of this room's history. It is in the State Reception room that the formal ceremony will take place. Accompanied by the Secretary-General to the President and the Secretary-General to the Taoiseach, the President will sign the warrant of appointment before handing the Taoiseach his seal and the seal of government, before joining his family members in the drawing room. The seals are normally kept under lock and key by the Secretary-General in Uachtarán. When the Taoiseach returns to Dáil Éireann, he will propose his government, and he and his ministers will travel back to the Áras after receiving the approval of the Dáil. When the ministerial nominees arrive, they will be invited to sign the visitors' book before being escorted to the Council of State room, where they will be briefed on procedure for the ceremony. They are then escorted in order of seniority to the State Reception room, where the President and Taoiseach sign and countersign 2 copies of the warrant of appointment. The nominees are announced by the aide-de-camp and presented their seal by the President one by one. The Chief Whip will also be introduced to the President. After the ceremony, the members of the government will proceed to the dining room via the Francini corridor under the eyes of Grattan, Moore and Markievicz, and all the presidents since the foundation of the state. In the dining room is the original cabinet table from Leinster House. Here, surrounded by the portraits of the presidents, every Irish cabinet since 1927 have had their first meetings. And at the conclusion of that meeting, they will leave to begin the work of government.